Hi, I'm going to show you how to set up a spreadsheet to figure out to watch investments as they grow through the years. So we're going to start with $1,000 and we'll use a 5% interest rate, but we'll be able to make changes. So in this upper area here, I like to get our given information. So we need to know the initial amount that we're investing. We need the annual percentage rate. I'm going to call it APR for annual percentage rate. So our initial amount is going to be $1,000. And if I want to format that for money, I'm going to hit this little symbol up here. That'll make it dollars. APR, I'm going to put, what happens if I put 5%? Does that do it? Well, I'm used to doing it in decimal form, so I'll do that. For 5%, I'm doing 0.05. Interest is usually figured out on a monthly basis, so that's what we're going to do. Well, it could be monthly or other things, but we'll go with monthly. So monthly, I need to take the yearly rate and divide it by 12. Now, here's where I'm going to use a formula. So to start a formula, notice this space up here. This is where the things I'm writing appear. So when I wrote monthly, that appeared up here. So when I click here, I'm going to write equals, because when you're writing a formula, it's going to start with equals. I'm going to click on B2. B2 is the cell that the APR amount is in, column B, row 2. So when I just click on it, it'll turn up as B2, or I could type it if I wanted to. And I want to divide that by 12 to get a monthly rate. So that's the monthly percentage rate. Now the advantage of doing a formula is I can change the APR to like 0.06 and it'll automatically change the monthly rate. So let's put it back to 0.05. So now we're going to have columns for month, initial amount, that's the initial amount every month, the interest earned, and final amount for each month. Okay, let's make the cells a little wider so we can read some of these things. Okay, so for month, I'm going to start with month 1, but instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to do it with a formula. So to get 2 from 1, I'm going to add 1 to 2. So I'm going to put, again, use a formula, equals, and I'm going to click on A7 because that's where my first month is. Then I'm going to add 1 to it, plus 1. Okay, so that gives me the correct answer. Now I'm going to fill down. So I'm selecting these cells, starting with the 2, not with the 1, because 2 is where my formula begins. And I'm going to hit fill down. And that's Control D. If your setup is size, mine is not here, but see where it says fill here in the editing commands, it says fill. If you click on fill, you see down as a choice. So that's basically what we're doing, only I'm doing it with Control D. The initial amount, I want to just copy that amount from cell B1. So equals B1. For the interest earned, okay, so at the end of that first month, I'm earning that amount times the monthly percentage rate. So again, I'm going to use a formula, equals the initial amount. Now I'm going to get from the cell before it. This is important. I want to use it from B7, not from B1. And then times, I want to multiply it by this monthly percentage amount. But I always want to go back to cell B3. I don't want to change that as I change my location. So to make it always that, I'm going to put $B, $3. Okay, and that gives me $4.17 I earned that month. The final amount, I'm just going to add these two. So B7 plus C7. So that's what I have in D7. So you notice in D7 I have a number, but when I look up top, I don't see that number. I see the formula that gets me that number. Okay, that's very convenient. Now, that takes care of my first row. The second row, for my initial amount, I want to just copy the final amount from the previous row. So I'm going to put equals D7. Okay, these two cells are set up to reference the cell before, right? So if I fill these down now, select them and Control D. Okay, so now see where it said B7 before? Now it's saying B8. Where it said C7, it's saying B8. B8. Sorry, where it said where it said C7, it's now saying C8. Okay, if I fill these down now, again starting with this cell because that's where my formula begins, not with this cell because I have a number there. So that gets me my numbers for the first 14 months. Now, if I want to go 10 years, I want to go 120 months. So I'm going to start filling down here. So I'm just letting it scroll. Okay, let's try this. So Control D. Okay, 120 months. Okay, I came up pretty close there. So after 120 months, I have $1,647. Now, if I want to keep track of changes more easily than having to scroll down and look at this, I'm going to copy this information up to the top. So this is cell D126, column D, row 126. So I'm going to do page up till I get to the top. Okay, and equals D126 before I forget what it is. Okay, so there's our amount, and I'm going to write at 10 years. Okay. If I want to see what happens if I raise the interest rate by 1%, all I need to do is change the 0.05 to 0.06. So 1% change of interest made a $200 difference in 10 years. Okay. If I change it to 10%, 0.1, then I have 2,707. Okay, so that made a big effect. Okay. So that's basically how to set up a spreadsheet. I could put more columns in if I wanted to do other things with it, but this is basically it. So I'll stop here.